Good afternoon. Welcome back. This is the World Junior Ultimate Championships here in Waterloo. We're on the showcase field brought to you by Cut Camps, and we have a huge game, an incredibly important game happening right now with Netherlands and Canada. I'm Naomi Redmond, joined by Tushar Singh up in the booth. Tushar, do you want to tell us a little bit about why this game is so important?
So this is the last round in Pool C. This is the women's power pool, and 4 teams right now are tied with a record of 2-2. So of the 6 teams, the top 4 will go on to the semifinals. The United States is already through with a perfect record so far. They are playing Germany, currently in 4th place. Canada right now in 3rd, playing Netherlands, who are currently in 5th, and Colombia currently in 2nd, playing Japan, who are in 6th and out of it. So Colombia needs to win their game to guarantee going up. Canada needs to win their game to guarantee going up. Same with Germany and Netherlands. Now there's some interesting things that happen. Say that Germany wins their game and Canada doesn't win this game, then Canada's out. But if Germany doesn't win their game and Canada doesn't win this game, they're still through on head-to-head. So we're going to be trying to get updates as well for any of the viewers at home as the opening poll goes up from Canada.
So we're going to get a look at this Netherlands offense here. Canada going down in person defense. Floating one out, Lola Dom, and right away picked off. A little bit of a miscue. Tracy Dow has the disc. A little bit of dancing, and Madison Ong picks that up around Anne Menard's ankles. Inside shot. Canada right on the doorstep. And out into space, that's picked up by Andrea Moore. Canada opens up this game with a break.
Exciting movement there. That was almost a turnover on Canada's offense, though, as well, with that initial low throw in the middle of the field. Uncharacteristic for Lola not to get it. We've been watching these teams since the beginning of the tournament. Netherlands being on this field previously. Our first game was actually streaming them. And what a great story for the Netherlands there, with her probably being the points leader in the tournament right now.
She is definitely the points leader in the tournament right now. When I checked this morning, she was at, I believe 38 points on the board, and she's played a game since then, so I'm sure it's even higher than that. Definitely arguably one of the MVPs of this tournament. She's done so much work coming out of the Groot program. She played in Cincinnati a few weeks ago, and we've seen that connection in between Anne Menard and herself. There's also Fleur Coularts out on the field. So Netherlands' top line is absolutely deadly, and so great to see that turnover was capitalized by Canada. They were able to punch it in. So we're going to see the same line out now on defense, and a very similar line for Netherlands as well.
Both teams going to be battling the wind here this evening as that pull from Canada goes out of bounds. Canadian team also deep. You know them quite well, considering you play on some of the top women's programs in Canada.
Yeah, I think I never had the opportunity to play juniors. I didn't start playing until I was outside of that realm, but I get to play in Toronto now and see some of the Toro women going through, and it's really fantastic. Speaks to the coaching. The coaching staff for the Toro program is the same as the women's program with the Toronto Sixers, so really great. And amazing grab. I believe that's Fleur Coularts. Under pressure, Megan Gillis in the area, but really nice grab for the Netherlands. She's going to stay on the field. She's going to get up onto her feet, and so Netherlands is going to retain possession.
After the initial look off on the deep throw, that second one came through a little bit under pressure, perhaps even a little bit underthrown. Netherlands will probably clean that up a little bit.
And another pass floats out into the end zone, right into the hands of number 12. That's Isa Moncal.
1-1 the score. Good clean offense from the Netherlands. Perhaps a little bit tight there, but that was a late bid, so taken properly. Fleur, great heads-up play, but as he's mentioned, a powerhouse on this team as well. In that initial game 3 days ago that we called, these stars really started coming to the forefront. We know a little bit about their backgrounds coming from Groot, but throughout the tournament, we've consistently seen them performing well, and it all comes down to this game. This is the game to go to be in medal position.
Absolutely, and if you're at home, the wind is really, really inconsistent right now. It's gusting, it's stopping. You can kind of see some of the flags in the background there. They're waving. It's a crosswind, but it's really inconsistent. So throwers are going to have to take a second, third look before they release just to make sure that they have the right edge and the right amount of spin on the disc. Otherwise, they're going to have a hard time out here. So Canada's going to pick up. That's Sam Burridge looking at Brittany DeSantos. Canada in the horizontal stack. Gonna put one out there. Sarah Jacobson looking towards the end zone. She's got Godare, and she goes all the way to the back. That is a goal for Canada. Very easy hold.
A little bit of pace on that disc, but great speed. Multiple receivers as well downfield. Canada playing everything right so far. Netherlands as well has been playing well. We're only 3 points into this game, but the pace is going to be high, and it seems downwind, everyone's willing to take their throws. That initial big gainer, though, a little bit low. That might also get cleaned up a little bit as we progress. Netherlands coming off of a universe point win against Colombia. That makes this game count so much more. Had they not won that one, this game might have been out of reach, but you can guarantee both teams are fired up and they know the situation.
Yeah, I was on the sideline for that Colombia-Netherlands game, and Colombia was down 12-8, and they climbed back in, and it was 12-12, and unfortunately they became a victim to the clock and lost on Universe there. But really an incredible game, so much athleticism in the game, and that Universe point, double game point, makes this bracket so much more exciting now for us as the spectator. A little bit more stressful for the players that are on the field, but definitely exciting. So now we have Menard in the middle. Out to the sideline, that's Scholten.
Canada's been playing a little bit more tightly to Lola Dam, but now she's released. Oh, and unfortunately, the pass did not complete there.
So we have Madison Ong picking up the disc. Out to Mesberis. She's got Tal up the line. Nice reaching grab. And a flick out into space all alone. That is 3 for Canada, and a really nice throw out into space. That's
a very important break at this point. Being up 2 breaks. They're going to be, Canada also in the second half is going to be receiving downwind. So they're going to have to be working into the wind from there. This is important early in the game to create some space, especially in the end game scenario when things can tighten up. On a offense perspective for the Netherlands, Canada's been playing a little bit looser on the far side when Lola Dam is out there. They've definitely adjusted to her to try and take away the deeps a little bit. If that middle pass had been completed, though, there was a big opportunity for a downwind huck. So Canada's got to figure that out as well, and perhaps have some last back coverage or some sort of support deep against some of the Netherlands stars.
So we have Netherlands on O here. Fleur Coularts, who was playing mostly on the defensive line before, back out on O. So they have a lot of star power on this line between Menard, Coularts, and Dom. A few options, more targets on the field for the Netherlands.
They really need to convert this particular point. It's going to be tough as well because they are moving into the wind, and Canada staying in person to person.
Setting up in sort of a sandwich defense, though. They have Britt DeSantos, who is sitting deep, but leaving an orange shirt going into the end zone. Unfortunately, the Netherlands don't see her. Lola Dam on the sideline. Coulart's looking for a big shot, can't find one. Disc with Jansen. And Menard toes the line. It's going to stay. That's inbound. That's a beautiful catch. And a float out into space. And Penelope Robert picks it up. Britt DeSantos looking deep. She's got Sarah Jacobson. That's a nice read on a same lane huck. And out into space. That's number 35, Brianna Dark. Canada stunning the Netherlands a little bit here. They are 4-1.
And that defensive pressure there by Robert in the end zone, just watching the in cut, being heads up on the play, great vision as well, allowed them to get the D there. And that's a difficult position to be throwing from because the disc is going to float when it's coming back inbounds. And then the offensive play there, getting to the far sideline, and then just that beautiful huck by Britt right down the line. And then Sarah as well. Jacobson just watching, taking that easily. You could not ask for better defensive offense at this point in the game. And they seem to be pretty fresh, even though they had the 14-10 loss to the U.S. earlier. It's 24 points played earlier today. They seem to be in pretty good conditions right now.
And that's that's partially due to Canada bringing their full roster, 28 women here this week. A much bigger team than the Netherlands and a lot of other teams here. We were speaking to this in our last stream. Waterloo, pretty far away from the general European area. So a lot of these other countries from overseas having a more difficult time bringing bigger rosters and opting to bring smaller squads. So Canada with the hometown advantage probably.
A lot of emotion right now from the Netherlands as well. They need to dial this in. They know the importance of this game. So we're going to keep watching to see how that evolves. But very strong line. And going downwind now, they should have the opportunity to confidently move it in. This timeout now wrapping up. One thing that Canada, I think, also needs to improve upon is a little bit of that defensive coverage on some of the handlers. They were getting the resets up the line too easily or giving them up too easily to the Netherlands. Netherlands now with probably their top line for offense. We're not seeing Lola Adam on there. She's probably played quite a few points. We do see some of their top handlers, though.
So Menard picking up. Out to Jansen. Great coverage on Flora Coulart's, making it impossible for her to get open. Netherlands running those jam cuts right behind the disc. And a throw out into space. That is nice. Coulart's going to come down with it. She's got a wide open player in the end zone. And that's Monkow. That's her second of this game. 2 points for Netherlands. Both go to Monkow.
And those were both great throws to space. A little bit of blown coverage there. Far under coverage, which is good when you're going to be going, when you're covering a team that's going upwind. But the switch also didn't happen. So a little bit of a defensive error on that case. Immediately gives up a point. And Flora Coulart on that one, just creating space in that midfield. We saw earlier on that in cut was covered, but it's very obvious that they're looking for her on the longer shots. Perhaps Canada can key in on that.
Yeah, and we've seen her speed all week, generating so many layout blocks and run through catch blocks. She has this 6th gear that she turns on. Her closing speed is so fast. And so we kind of saw that when she started striking there, creating sort of an option because it was high in the stall count. And she is so fast, one of the fastest players out on this field for sure. And also one of the most impressive throwers. We see her with the pull. Canada to pick up. That's Sam Burridge. Godare. And unfortunate, a layout from Robert. Can't hang on to it. A little bit of a ground strip.
Throwing from that direction, creating issues for both teams and all teams on this field today.
And looking deep right away. There's a lot of coverage. Britt DeSantos and Godare in the way, sandwiching Coulart's a little bit there. So Canada is going to be back on O. Canada set up in a vertical. Jacobson. DeSantos.
Netherlands with a straight up mark as well.
Godare, great movement, so fast. Jacobson shoots one into the end zone, and that is a huge bid by Penny Robert, just out of hands, but she was shoulder height, and she is not very short. That was a huge bid by Robert.
And she just bounces right back up as if that was nothing. I feel like there's more in the game from her like that. And perhaps through the rest of the tournament as well, where it's going to come down to even closer catches.
Yeah, we saw, I believe in the Canada-Colombia game that we filmed the other day, Robert laying out for every pass. She is so good when she's horizontal. It was so impressive. And that throw, just out of the hands, Britt DeSantos with the layout D trailing edge. She's going to pick it up right away. G, inside shot, a little bit behind Godare there, so Netherlands is going to take another chance. That's Bardol with the disc. Oh, pardon, Bose with the disc now. Coulart's looking deep.
This is a good matchup here between Dos Santos and Coulart's.
Nice around throw. And a big shot. That's in the end zone. Robert's going to snack that up. Dom doing a good job of shutting down Jacobson, not really giving the handlers an option. It's going to snap right out of Godare's hands, and now Netherlands really close to the end zone. Dom on the doorstep. Nice high release backhand over her mark. That's Coulart's. Netherlands is at 3, and all of a sudden this game is within 1.
That was an important point for the Netherlands there. And you could also see the chemistry between Floor Coulart's and Lola Dom, where Lola just put it out. Backhand break, high release, in the shadow. She didn't know where Coulart's was, but trusted that she'd be there in that position. Canada with a few bobbles as well on this point. Need to dial that in and really convert on those downwinds, because they are now in an uphill battle. The wind has died down a little bit, though, and we're going to see that in the evenings here. Mornings and evenings are going to be the opportunities with a little bit reduced wind. We're going to have the wind tomorrow and day after. So for those teams that head on into the medal rounds, they are going to have another piece to contend with.
So now we're going to have Canada's offensive line out here. Actually, a lot of defensive players out on this line. A little bit of a different look for Canada. We have Menard with a pull. That is nice. It's going to float for a long time and sit really close to the sideline. Netherlands catching up, already on. And I can't find my words, but a huge layout grab by Britt DeSantos.
And yet another good matchup with Lola Dam on Britt Dos Santos.
And a big backhand throw and a nice grab by Canada. Out into space, Mesmeris right on the sideline and throws it. That's Tracy Dow. That's a big point for Canada, from almost dropping it right on their end zone line to working it all the way up the field. A few really athletic plays on that point.
That was huge for Canada. First, the D by Lola Dam, which Britt Dos Santos recovered, and then that backhand hook from Britt. Not the intended receiver, I believe, but then Jasmine Chan with an athletic grab as well. And then after that, it was just up the line in 3 passes and point. But that was tense.
Yeah, and when you hit the deck like that, both Britt DeSantos and Jasmine Chan, those are big layouts. You're hitting the ground hard, especially Chan with the pancake layout that can really jostle you around a little bit, and finding the composure to complete a pass right after that shows a lot of maturity on this team.
Canadian roster here very deep, as you mentioned, bringing the full 28. Netherlands not as much, as many players, but both teams very deep in talent, and just points to a very healthy juniors program in each country.
So we'll have Florence Dion with a pull. It's going to stay in bounds, about the brick mark. Menard to pick up. Don't think she's had a break yet this game. Really the anchor of this Netherlands handler core. And unfortunately, just out of hands of Jansen, so Canada is going to have a chance here with Ong to pick up. Squirrel on the mark, and Ong tries to bend one around, but with the direction that throw is going and opening up that outside edge, it's just going to get pushed into the ground.
Does get them a little bit of field position though. Netherlands in a tricky spot. The downwind corner. This is the toughest spot to move it from.
And Netherlands takes a shot, but a catch block from Ong. It's Peralta with the disc. Inside throw to Robert. And a big floating throw. This is anyone's disc, but Andrea Moyer elevates for the grab. So now we have 6-1 for Canada, 6-3 for Canada over the Netherlands.
And Fleur Coularts was under that play as well. She is everywhere on this field, trying to do everything and playing well at the same time. You gotta wonder when's she gonna get her break on that. It's just a matter of time. And given this is their last game of the day, coming out a half or whatever break they have, the Netherlands' top line is going to be keyed in even more. We saw that in the game against New Zealand the other day, where they were down and then they just started coming back and grinding in. Canada has to keep the pedal on the gas right now and keep pulling out as much of a lead, because if there's a team that can probably pull it back here, well, one's probably going to be Colombia, but Netherlands is the other one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen Flora Coulart play in Cincinnati when she was playing with Groot, and she is just such a fantastic player. She's so versatile. She has so many throws, and like I said earlier, she's so fast. I think she's going to take a little break here, but when we see her back on the field, she is just going to be dominating.
She always looks kind of tired, but I think she's got more than enough left in the tank. She's just conserving her energy right now. And the best players always do that. They know when to move slowly and recharge.
So Canada with the pull. It's going to get bolstered a little bit by the wind, but pushed out of bounds. So Menard is going to pick up. She's going to be able to take it at the brick mark. We have Canada's Hortolano on the mark. She's going to try and see what she can shut down. Netherlands in a stack. Moncal creating a diversion. Dahum picks that up behind a very close Canadian defensive player. And unfortunately, that swing pass from Jansen is just going to be out of reach for Menard.
Banieres was super close on that one. It's good to see that sort of pressure, but it's also now expected. This is an important game.
Ong looking deep, finds Hortolano under. And a nice attempt, nice bid attempt, and a second effort attempt by Canada there. But it's going to be a turnover, and Netherlands is going to take it very deep on the field. And their vertical stack set up very deep as well. There's very few deep options for them.
Pick called from the stack. Good positioning in terms of if they need to put it, they'll have lots of receivers deep. Field position is good. It'll also let it float. But Canada's force is picking up on that.
And somehow Menard gets off an inside-out backhand from behind her mark. But Ong is there. She's everywhere on this field. Tracy Dow, far sideline. Back to Ong. Second effort, reels it in. Fakes off the deep throw. Her and Dow using 3 yards on the sideline.
There may be some sort of call. There's a lot of players in the vicinity of that throw. It seemed to go right towards the cluster of Canadians in the end zone.
Yeah, interesting look there. There were a lot of players, but I don't think the stall count was that high. Throw into a lot of traffic.
And I don't think anyone knew whom it was coming to, so they didn't want to touch it just in case because it had a lot of zip on it as well.
A little bit of confusion again from the Netherlands stack. And a lot of crowding on the open side. That's going to cause enough for a turnover. Canada right on the doorstep.
Perhaps a little bit of a rushed pickup there.
Ong out into space, and Hortolano going to elevate for the goal.
Score now, 7-3 for Canada. Netherlands looking to get back into this. Coulart's cheering on her team, trying to get that mental headspace in, and that's where the maturity of many of the players who are touring on the competitive adult teams for their club teams are really going to rely upon the experience of their peers and what they've learned over their fairly short touring experience. We're seeing the men's teams for both countries on the sidelines also working bit by bit to get their teammates back into the game or to focus a little bit more. And I spoke in the last game, I commentated as well about that, of how taking away the need to cheer helps you focus that much more as a player on the actual game. So sideline support from the non-players, extremely important. And that comes from teammates, that comes from parents, comes from the fans. managers, every little bit adds up.
So Netherlands, Ono. We have Coularts back on the field. And that pull is going to go just out of bounds behind the half mark. It's a pretty short pull, so it's going to be a little bit easier for these Dutch women to work it upfield. But looks like they're going to take it at the brick mark.
So in WFDF rules, you can either take it at the brick mark if it has fallen in front of it or on the sideline where it went out. In this case, the women have opted to take
the Dutch women, interesting offensive setup, but Brittany DeSantos shut down the initiating cutter. Canada off to the races, but that throw just pops up over the hands of Dion.
And on that play, Netherlands wanting to isolate Flora Coularts in the middle, but Brittany Dos Santos, great coverage. The mark, great coverage as well. And then the side marks on the handlers as well. A little bit poachy to shut down anything.
Menard just outside the end zone. Nice shot. Dom breaks free. That is 4 for the Dutch women, and Canada still at 7.
That's a great point for the Netherlands, working it up into the wind after the turnover as well. Canada had the opportunity there. We saw the bump from the wind, but even that throw, the initial one into the end zone from Canada, would have been contested. In this particular case, we saw some of the stars from the Netherlands working it up the sideline. Great grab, the sent by Flora Coularts in the middle, fingertips just to keep possession, and then she let one huck go to Munkau. This is an important point for Canada because we know the Netherlands has the opportunity to break, and that would once again tighten up the game. So they need to be clean all the way up the field.
Netherlands really showing their stripes there. It was incredible person-to-person defense from Brittany DeSantos on that point, but Netherlands able to dig in and eventually work it down the field after the second turnover. So definitely impressive offensive power from these Dutch women. Winji in the middle, looking at a zone here. That's a 3-person cup from the Netherlands. Canada pushing out to the sideline. Jacobson now trapped, looking up at a wall of orange.
They may be able to keep battling. Great work off the sideline there.
And that is an inside shot. It's going to pop up, and Coularts is going to pick that off. Coularts definitely looking for the deep option. It's not there. And again, she's looking for it. She's going to fire one, and it's a little fast.
Just over Muski's head. Canada now facing that zone once again.
And that's a long 70 yards in front of them. Burridge threads one to the middle to Sarah Jacobson. And Luke with it now. Canada off to the races. And that's a nice shot right into the end zone, into Emily Scott's hands. Canada is going to take half here 8-4.
That was pretty much 10 meters on every throw. That was great movement by Canada. The break through the middle there, very tight forward-looking zone from the Netherlands, but as soon as they got behind that, it was off to the races. And Netherlands a little bit flat-footed at that point, couldn't catch up and shut it down.
But excellent play from both teams so far. I'm so impressed by this team from the Netherlands. They've had a really tough day this morning, arguably a little bit more difficult than than the Canadian women, so definitely showing their stuff. We're going to take a quick break going into halftime here, so stay tuned. Welcome back. We are live here at the World Junior Ultimate Championships. This is Waterloo. It's the year 2018. This field is brought to you by Cut Camps, streaming brought to you by Minute School. We just want to give a quick shout out to some of our other sponsors here at this tournament. We have Universe Point Cleats, VC Discraft. So thank you for everyone who's made it out here today. Thank you to our sponsors. And here we have Canada. They just took half, 8-4, and then the Netherlands there at 4. So we've seen a lot so far. It's been a hotly contested game. Netherlands just taking some shots that aren't completing, and Canada capitalizing a little bit better.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that both teams are able to move at full field. We've been able to see that both teams can play defense, offense, throw in this win. But there's been a little bit of conversion differences. Canada's had a lot more players under the disc as well on defense. On offense, because of those breaks, they've been able to convert. So far, the Netherlands has had 1 break in this game. Canada's had 5, and that is the story so far. Canada's also going to receive going into the wind this time. So let's see how they can move it end to end and whether the Netherlands brings a zone, and like they did at the end of last few points.
And it's going to be tough working up from that downwind end zone, working uphill here. It's been really challenging. It's been challenging teams all day long, but we'll see what we have. We have Britt DeSantos in the middle there looking up at that Dutch zone, but Canada able to break free. It is very tight.
Yeah, very tight marks there.
Kelly Smith out of the Toronto program. Toro Juniors.
And Brittany Dos Santos driving most of this in the cup right now.
Robert on the sideline. Netherlands sticking with their zone set. Robert fires one through, and it's caught by Lola Dam. And that throw just gets pushed right into the turf. So Canada gets lucky here, and they're going to take another shot. Win G to pick up. Dos Santos set up as her reset, and we have Jacobson setting the front of the stack. Dos Santos. And again, a little bit of a miss throw there from G. And that is going to roll a little bit, 4 yards.
It's going to go back into the sideline where it went out. So that's what they're pointing to right now. The game advisor as well, indicating where the players are pointing to.
So that's Boss with the disc to Dom. Coulartz is next. Big mark from Jacobson, trying to shut off any big throws. And again from Britt DeSantos. We're seeing this big straight up mark from Sarah Jacobson. Canada still sticking to mostly a flick mark, but particularly on Coulartz, they're trying to prevent her from throwing upfield. But now Jacobson lays out a little bit behind, and a poach block from DeSantos.
Great heads-up play.
G going 1-1 and right into the end zone, into the hands of Jacobson.
And that was a great heads-up defensive effort by Brittany Dos Santos. Seeing what was happening, Lola Dam as well had stopped cutting a little bit, but it seemed like Netherlands needed help back, so she'd come back a little bit as well. Great play as well after Jacobson had made the bid, and Coulartz had wide open throw. The next Canadian defensive player came in and just took away that upline huck just for a moment until Jacobson could come back. So great team defense there overall. Also should mention Netherlands zone, that cup, when it got to that far sideline, there was nothing through that. They earned that defensive effort there. They forced a throw through it, and Lola Dam just easy D for her there at the start of the point. So that zone will keep paying dividends for the Netherlands.
Absolutely, and we saw Fleur Coulartz, as you were saying earlier, Tushar, she was looking pretty tired on the sideline, but as soon as she got into the mix, she was every other pass, working really hard, taking advantage of Jacobson a little bit sagging behind her, and she was able to get off some throws, that high release backhand into the middle, even though there was a straight up mark on her. So that just shows her strength as a thrower, and part of the strength in having that is when you have a thrower that's that strong as a cutter, it's a real advantage for your team because it takes off some of the pressure from your handlers.
It's an exciting game. Can't help but feel that some of the matchups we're seeing here, we're going to see them for years to come in the national programs and at WJUC. The next one is happening in the Netherlands. We expect to see many of these players there.
So that's Squirrel in the middle. Minard looking deep. Doesn't like it. Nice flick out to Jansen, and she throws it. Dom tries to scoop it up, but it just dies going upwind. So it looks like Canada is going to pick up here.
Canada's sideline really compressed. Mespers didn't really have an idea that the throw was up.
It's Peralta in the middle. And unfortunate, just a little bit too low. So Menard is going to pick it up at the brick. Netherlands using a really good use of that space behind, but Andrea Moore gets the D. And that is a turnover. A little bit weird, but it looks like there's a call a few passes back.
There's either a foul call or an injury. They're still discussing it.
And this is when those WFDF hand signals are so important and so helpful to us on the sideline.
They're having a quick discussion as to what happened. I'm sure we'll find out the outcome later on. We also have a potential Canadian injury. So they're saying it was a turnover. And that the call down the field may not have affected anything that happened. It's always important at these tournaments to have these discussions rather than just outright making a call. It allows the players to develop an understanding. And some of the advisors were also having a discussion after the previous game about a call that had happened because it was a sequence of events that can be confusing as to what the outcome should be. And they were able to advise the teams as to here's how you should interpret these sequences. Because when they happen next time, the players will be able to make the call for themselves. They'll have that experience.
So Jansen to pick up. Dom shaking free. Menard's got her. Dom going to the end zone. Squirrel now with a disc. And unfortunate, it's going to flutter in the wind, and Jansen can't quite pick it up.
I don't think Menard knew that it was meant for her. It was, throw came out very quickly.
It's Hortolano. Nice around throw. Lots of traffic in the backfield here for Canada. And again, maybe a bit of a rushed throw there. Very quick, and it's going to go into the turf.
Yeah, Chang was holding her ankle earlier as well, and she's got a bandage there. Might be having a little bit of a balance, but some balance issues getting those throws out. I just know that when I'm in pain and I'm on the field, I don't feel the pain. So
it's that energy that comes from this kind of game. So exciting, and just, again, another unfortunate turnover.
Netherlands having a lot of trouble connecting on those dumps right now, and
so Ong is going to float one out into space, and that's just out of the hands of number 29, Julie Lee.
Canada had set up an isolation play there with a stack further back, and number 98, or I'm not sure if that was number 98, but a player set up in the front to try and create space for them to throw to. And as that throw went around, the wind just picked it up a little bit, gave it a bit more pace than intended.
Stopped on the cone. Lola Dom in the middle of the field. Some double cuts, trailing edge grab, great grab by the Netherlands. And that's a big throw. It's going to be caught by the wind and going to sail out of bounds right in front of our booth.
Players having a just quick discussion as to about where did it go out of bounds. Vertical stack by Canada. Lots of room for handler cuts.
Hortolano shakes free. That's a nice cut. Back to Ong. Moyer. We are right outside the end zone, and Hortolano all alone. That makes it 10 for Canada.
Important point for Canada to convert on. We did see a number of turnovers though, and that needs to be cleaned up. Canada now, it seems, on a path towards that top 4, and now starting to be thinking about maybe how do we tighten this up a little bit more. There's still a lot of game left to play. Our timing right now for this game is we have 48 minutes still to go. And we know the Netherlands, once they start marching on an ultimate, they can come back. They have an opportunity on this downwind point to do just that. Their resets, though, last point the story, I think. They just could not connect, whereas Canada was doing throwaways upfield. Netherlands was doing it on their dumps, and that's not the place where you want that to happen.
Absolutely, and I think it might just be a little bit of fatigue showing for this Netherlands team. You see the same 5 players or so cycling the disc every other pass, and that is exhausting. It's been a really long week. Lots of different weather cycles moving through here. It's mentally exhausting, physically exhausting. So I think we're seeing a little bit more fatigue there. We're definitely seeing the benefits of having a deep bench like the Canadians at this tournament.
Person-to-person defense.
Brittany DeSantos shutting down Fleur Coulartz, and that throw just out of the hands of Jansen. So Tracy Dow now on the sideline. Benares finds Britt DeSantos, and unfortunate turnover, just bounces out of her hands.
Netherlands is probably going to be looking to get it either to Fleur or Lola. And then the other one is keen to go deep. And there is a call.
Definitely a lot of contact on that. Both very fast players looking for the same area, and both had their eyes on the disc. So a little bit of body contact. So it looks like it's going to be an uncontested foul. So Coulartz is going to keep it. And looking again, Monkow in the end zone, and a pancake layout grab. That is her 3rd point of the game.
And Netherlands makes it 5, and that was a great throw. And Fleur Coulart, such a dangerous player on the field.
Yeah, that was a great throw. Just the right amount of touch to keep it, above the grass, keep it catchable, and enough zip on it to keep it out of the hands of the Canadian defender.
And Coulart immediately picks up the discs, saying, I'm on. I'm going to pull this. I'm going to go out and play hard defense. And I've been speaking about that matchup with Coulart and Dos Santos. Such a great matchup there. Both players just extremely talented with their throws, physically dominant on the field as well, fast, just massive presences. You love to see those matchups because you know that you're going to see a battle, especially when the teams are still going to try and get into those players. They're not going to look them off. So this has been an extremely entertaining, if I can be entertained and if that matters in this, but it's immensely important to also have these matchups.
Big pull from Coulart. That's going to sit nicely, give the Netherlands a lot of time to get under the disc. We're going to settle down with Brittany Dos Santos. Not a lot of options. Win-G looks off her bail, but instead goes upfield to Jacobson. Robert to Godere, wide open in the end zone. And that is 11 for Canada, 5 for the Netherlands.
Canada's a lot of these lucky completions, so to speak, where the first pass has not worked out or the first receiver, the disc has gone over them, and there's immediately a second one underneath. That horizontal setup that they have is helping out with that. And the Canadians are also heads up on it. We had a case in the last point where the Netherlands was in a similar sort of situation, but it was the Canadian defender who came in and cleaned it up to actually create the turnover, even though it was relatively close to the player from the Netherlands. So Canada, I'm not saying lucky on these, but they have a good setup that is giving second chances and opportunities as the Netherlands calls their second timeout, or first timeout of the second half.
And Netherlands just having such an impressive tournament so far. I remember a few days ago now, feels like a lifetime, Tushar and I called their first game on this field, and such an impressive win by them in that game. And we were given our first show of their athleticism, and we were, one of the things that we said was this team definitely had a chance to medal, and we've seen that all week from them. They've fought through some pretty tough games, including a universe loss to Team USA, the closest scare really that the U.S. has had. Canada played them this morning, and the score was 14-10. So this Netherlands team, they are so athletic, they are so talented, and this is really, really challenging for them. We know that they're very strong. And we know that we can expect more from them, and they've been at the unfortunate receiving end to some turnovers, maybe struggling a little bit with fatigue, but this is such a strong team, and they have so much talent here. So I know that we can see more from them in the future, and I think we will see more from them in the last points of this game.
And to speak to that, before this game, all the teams, or there were 4 teams in the power pool, the women's power pool, that were tied for second. Of those 4 teams, the Netherlands had the best plus minus and had the highest goals for as well. So they were, if you organize by that stat, they were in the number 2 spot, and that's why this game is doubly interesting, and all the other results at the same time so interesting. But extremely strong team as well, but that, I think the difference is what the weather conditions bring out, all the varying different types of weather conditions. And with the wind dying down now, perhaps we'll see a change in fortune.
So Menard in the middle, bit of a high release flick. Unfortunately, Coulart just doesn't see it all the way into her hands, And so Canada is going to get a chance here. Burridge picking up. Hortolano under, break side. And a throw out into space, but it is D'd by Dom, but still floats in the air, and Canada able to pick that one up.
That was really good heads up D. Lola kept running into the end zone, and it's unfortunate that when she hit it, it bounced right into the Canadian player's hands.
And that's the upwind side of the field. The upwind side of the field. So on the right side of your screen, discs going that way are popping up a little bit more. And in that case, that D just wasn't enough of a shutdown, really knocking it into the ground to keep it out of the hands of the Canadian receiver.
So Canada leading 12-5 with lots of time still left in this game. The Netherlands putting out yet another strong line. I say that as if they put out a weak line in this game. They haven't. Both teams have just been putting strong line after strong line out there.
And this is the national team, so every player on this field is impressive, and everyone has earned their spot on this field. And so I think that's really important to note, all the work that goes behind joining a national team. I've been lucky enough to play on a national team, and from the top to the bottom, it doesn't matter where you sit on the roster. Everyone's worked so hard to get there and worked so hard to get a chance to play on this national stage. And so that's what's exciting here. But Menard going to rip a huge backhand out into space, unfortunately just a little bit too far. So it's going to go to the back of the end zone.
On this offensive play, when Fleur Coulart's went deep, 3 Canadian players went with her. That created space for Moncau to come underneath. Unfortunately, the handlers didn't see that open player. Otherwise, they would have had additional movement there. It's always easy to see that here from the sideline. On the field, it's a completely different situation.
And Coulart's, like we said, run through D. She is so fast on this field. And Netherlands taking another look at the end zone.
Setting up in an isolation for Coulart's.
Inside shot, that's a goal. That's a really nice hold for the Dutch women.
Excellent break throw there. And that's what we saw in the New Zealand game as well, is that they've got these fantastic throws, and if you let up even a little bit on defense, they'll be able to take advantage of it. Interesting isolation play as well. They have their favorite player in the end zone. And on that particular series, they took advantage of the space. Team Canada going to be working into the wind now. Still a crosswind. Looks like it's coming directly from the other side of the field, directly into the camera. Last game of the day for all sets of teams. We haven't gotten a score report from the other fields. As soon as we do, we will share it. Important games on those fields right now. Colombia versus Japan, must win for Colombia, and we do have a score report there, 8-4 at half for Colombia.
On a bit of a miss throw. Jacobson can't quite get there. Menard, who's guarding her, is going to pick up on the far sideline. Lofts one out into space right away. That's Jansen, and she is going to hang on to it. That is 2 in a row for this Netherlands team.
And that's their second break of the game. Canada leading 12-7. That's not that great a difference if you get a few breaks in a row. But a little bit of a misfire there on the swing.
Yeah, and I was mentioning I got to watch Netherlands play Colombia earlier, and it was a 12-8 deficit that Colombia was in, and they were able to bring it back to knot things up at 12. So, don't count out these Dutch women yet.
No, and the other halftime report, United States of America is leading 8-3. This creates a very interesting situation because it looks like the Netherlands may actually end up with a tied record with Germany, which would put them into the top 4. So as of right now, both of these teams... Oh, sorry, I just need to double check. No, it would knock them out because Germany has the head-to-head against the Netherlands. I apologize for that. So right now, USA, Canada, Colombia, and Germany looking to go into the top 4.
Thanks for doing that math for us, all us fans, Tushar. I can't operate that kind of heavy machinery while I'm this invested in the game. And a nice layout grab by Jacobson. Some double cuts downfield. And Robert picks that one off the ground outside of a laying out Van Middelaar. High release, Britt DeSantos, guarded by Dom. Inside shot, Godere. And another inside shot from Jacobson. That is 13 for Canada. Sorry, and 7 for the Netherlands.
Good movement by Canada there. Can't help but look at the field and see the fantastic handling that's going on, and for both teams, and to see the conversion as that'll go into the World Championships in the Netherlands 2 years from now, the Juniors Championships in Sweden 2 years from now, but then into the club programs for wherever the club's worlds might be 4 years from now. We're going to be seeing a lot of great matchups, and the future is bright for both countries.
And something to note, there's always a lot of turnover on these U20 teams. A lot of, it's always beneficial when you have some of the older U20s, the 19-year-olds, the 18-year-olds that have seen some of these tough games before. Canada only bringing back, I believe, 2 players from their win in Poland in 2016. That's Sarah Jacobson and Win G, but on the flip side, I don't know if they'll have anyone to bring back at the next World Junior Championships, apart from maybe some of the coaching staff. We're seeing some of repeat coaching from Catherine Porin, who is the defensive specialist on this team. So it'll be interesting to see where Canada's junior program goes, as well as this Dutch women's team, because there's always so much turnover in these younger programs.
You can see that on some of the notes that we have here for both teams. Almost every player is already playing on some sort of touring team, and some adult touring team as well. So this Coularts goes deep and makes that a 2-pass point.
That is so easy, and I feel like I'm a broken record here, but Coularts is so fast. You can't really tell immediately because you see her, she moves slowly on the field before she takes her first strike. But once she starts going, her top speed is really incredible.
And perhaps this is a lesson for other countries to also take home, is that getting these junior players onto adult teams and having that experience from the adult teams and the level of competition can result in stronger programs, because 3 players that we've said here, their names again and again, Dom, Menard, and Coularts, play on group together. That says a lot for chemistry, but it also means that they're able to see and develop and have the same lessons. That reduces the need to coach the basics when they already have them from their normal day-to-day play. And then on the Canadian side, once again, we see a lot of this as well with the women's programs or the juniors teams, but forming these systems and playing with them really feeds these national programs.
So DeSantos picking up to G. Robert on the sideline, going deep, but a nice cut under. That's Chan. Huge gainer. Little bit of a double cut. Jacobson not doing a little shoulder check. She had Godere behind her wide open.
Looking at her hand as well, but a little bit frustrated that she didn't get that.
Looks like we can see from the booth, her hand is a little bit taped up. Maybe jostled it in the wrong way earlier, and that impeded her ability to catch.
Backhand force.
Nice grab by Menard. A lot of double cutting from the Netherlands right now. A little bit of disorganization in their vertical stack. Oh, and just too bad. Such an unfortunate drop by Monkau there as the Dutch were starting to get into their groove. But Win G going to throw one out to space. And Brittany DeSantos to hit Jacobson in the end zone.
Canada at 14, Netherlands at 8.
So Canada with the opportunity here to close out this game. They're at 14. They're right on the doorstep. All they need is a break here, and they're really in a comfortable lead against these Dutch women. But the Netherlands really won't go away. They've been working so hard and grinding, and you can see so much emotion behind every point. They are playing for their lives here. This is so important to them. They are working so hard, and we love to see that from both sides.
So going into the next round, if the games all finish right now at their scores, the United States would go in as number 1 into the semifinals. Then it would be a 3-way tie. No, sorry. Colombia would go in as second, Canada as third, and Germany as fourth. So we'd likely be looking as a Colombia-Canada matchup for the first semifinal, United States versus Germany for the second semifinal, and then Netherlands versus Japan for the 5-6 spot.
So Netherlands in that horizontal stack. Coularts looking deep, fires a big flick, and it is received. That's number 48, Muskie. Not a lot of options, a lot of crowding behind the disc for her. Coularts gets it back. And a hammer, and unfortunately just a little bit too far for Menard to run onto it, but a good look there.
Absolutely, and well positioned to take the power dump, recognizing how crowded it was around the disc.
Ong picking up on the front corner. That's a tricky spot. And a big throw goes up. We have better position there from number 8, Verhoeven. And just out of the hands, maybe unexpected by Coularts. She's going to help deep.
There's a lot of power behind that throw.
Ong to Dow. Nice layout grab. Ong puts one out into space. Canada comes down with it. That's Madison Ong closing out this game. And that is 15-8 for Canada.
That is a strong win for Canada, securing their place in the top 4 to head into semifinals, and now, as a result of that, fighting for gold medal spot. We'll see how the actual results pan out tomorrow and day after, but a strong win. Netherlands, tough fight right from the get-go. They were a little bit behind. I think next time around, given the distance, they'll be able to send a larger roster. Still very strong and deep here, but the wind conditions did not help them in this particular situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And such a great athletic team. We've seen them all week putting so many goals up on the board, and really commendable, especially that Universe double game point loss to Team USA. I think we have to high fives all around to this Dutch women's team. So great, and great work by Canada as well, coming out with that powering through everything. So really impressive. But moving forward, we'll have some more games streamed tomorrow. Starting at 9 a.m., we have 2 semifinals in the morning, and then both of our bronze medal games, the men's and the women's bronze medal games in the afternoon. So stay tuned. Check our Twitter, check our Facebook. All of the details will be there later this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Cut Cams, for this great showcase field. Running out of breath. I'm Naomi Redmond. Thank you, Tushar, for joining me up in the booth. Everyone, take care, stay safe, and see you tomorrow.